Welcome to CounterCulture Coffee headquarters. My name is Tracy. I am an educator here in the Durham region. And welcome to our first ProDev of the year. Yay, we're really excited. If you've never been to a ProDev before, we do these about 4 times a year. Professional development is what it stands for. And the goal for it is to be able to push our potential by dedicating time and researching and engaging in peer-to-peer education. And also it's a great time for us to come together as a local coffee community and start some conversations based around coffee and such. So, all right, so today we're talking about world coffee research and the Century Lexicon. That's what we're starting with. Some goals today are to introduce the world coffee research and who they are, who participates, who funds this organization, and some of the benefits of WCR. Also, we want to experience the lexicon, so talking about what is the lexicon, the purpose for tasting, and we're going to be trying some fun references, which will be fun for us in a little bit, and to extend some support opportunities. So if anyone's interested, you too can help support the WCR in its efforts. All right, so let's talk about what is World Coffee Research. World Coffee Research is an organization that was formed to enable global coffee industry in pre-competitive advanced agricultural research and development, to transform the coffee sector to be productive for our industry, first of all, second of all, profitable for farmers, and sustainable for around the world. And by pre-competitive, we just mean that coffee companies coming together for the greater good of specialty coffee. We have this one thing in common, is specialty coffee. We want to make sure that it's around for many, many, many years to come. So here's a list of current coffee companies that are supporting WCR's work. And there we are right there. Brett Smith, our president, is actually on the board. But what it's doing, what World Coffee Research, WCR, is doing, is connecting the consuming branch with production and scientists. And to really working all together is really helping us and WCR build on progression instead of making parallel progression. So what am I talking about? Why now? Why are we coming together now to fund WCR at all? Well, if you haven't heard anything, but coffee agriculture is at this crossroads right now where the demand for specialty coffee is rising and land is decreasing for it. So suitable land for growing is declining. A lot of farmers are losing a lot of incentives of how to walk this tightrope of having suitable land to grow with this demand, but compared to any other sort of agricultural research that is going on, coffee is one of the most under-researched and under-innovated crops despite its popularity and its global economic value. It's interesting on this website, it's saying that there's nearly 100 times more innovation in watermelon breeding than there is with coffee. What's happening is WCR is coming together, already giving these farmers already equipped information so that they know that this variety will thrive at a much quicker rate than it normally would, and that just makes investments a lot more productive for our coffee farmers' livelihood. And it's a quicker return on investment. So already, this has already been plan in action. WCR is developing the next generation they already have. I think we're up to about 64 different, I keep saying we, but I feel like, we're part of it. 64 different coffee varieties have already been in action for this. And this is going to be the second generation hybrid specialty coffee, Arabica coffees. Yeah, 61 total, which is amazing. The plan is for 2023 for there to be about the best of the hybrids, about 3 to 4 of the hybrids to be going into Central America. And some crops have already been started to go into Rwanda. So they're mixed with across with 8 Arabica coffees and 3 rust-resistant coffees to make this hybrid that is going to thrive. And so it's been called the F1 hybrid varieties, and it's already been showing to have a lot of these traits of coffee leaf rust resistant, a higher yield increase, capable of scoring a 90 or above on cup quality, and very profitable, a lot more profitable for our coffee farmers and livelihoods. So, WCR is doing all this upstream agriculture. It enables farmers to improve yields, profitability, cup quality, but where does this sensory lexicon fit into all of these things? What the sensory lexicon is doing is providing breeders a way to measure coffee flavor, basically. The same way that they can measure yield, disease resistance, or profitability of a plant. So before this sensory lexicon, there was no real way for farmers to be able to quantify flavor or know exactly, hey, I'm getting this variety, but I'm not sure exactly why these flavors are coming out of this certain variety. Hi. Y'all can come in, there's some seats over there too. So this was pretty game-changing for folks. It's like a way to understand flavor and variety by, the way to understand flavor and variety is to be able to quantify exactly what flavors can be found in certain varieties or certain coffees. So what happened was, to create the lexicon, it was a sensory scientists, so they were not coffee professionals. A panel of sensory scientists came together to help create this lexicon. And this isn't their first rodeo. This isn't their first time of creating a lexicon. There's a lot of different lexicons out there. There's one for cheese, wine, beer, even marijuana. And that way, it's just coming together to be able to, they're super tasters. They're able to taste a lot of different flavors. So dealing with coffee, they came together and spent over 100 hours tasting coffee from 13 different countries, and it was about 105 different coffees that they tried. And with that collaboration, they were able to come up with 110 flavor attributes from that. So this is a very comprehensive list. 110 is a lot, but it's not, that was the first edition of a sensory lexicon, so it's not a necessarily complete one. For instance, one of the big things that they did not taste at that time was potato defect. So that's something that is obviously now that you've experienced maybe potato defect in your coffee, that is something that came about later. The lexicon really sparked a change in the flavor wheel for SCA. So after the lexicon was put out, that's when SCA kind of reinvented their wheel and got some coffee professionals together to be able to, see if they lined up with what the scientists, the attributes, the flavor attributes, if they could also pick out those flavors, but also they wanted to be able to create and kind of group things together more that made a little bit more sense. It was a lot more flavors than the original flavor wheel that you've seen. There's a misconception that the lexicon came from the flavor wheel when it's actually the other way around. CounterCulture, we've had ours since 2013, but it's very similar with the flavors. But that was just like an extra addition to be able to create WCR working with SCA to be able to create it. And using the flavors, we like to say more that the lexicon is more producer-based, so that was just for scientists, coffee scientists, a way to be able to help form these new varieties and really understanding like in quantifying flavor. But it's also fun for us to experience as well. But it wasn't really made for coffee professionals, it was made for coffee scientists. So we just wanted to clear that up. So what is in the lexicon? So the lexicon can be read more as a dictionary of flavors. So there's 110 attributes. So it's just about a definition of what flavors can be found in the coffee. So you're going to have the attribute name. For instance, blackberry would be one. the definition of the flavor, so the definition of blackberry, and then references. So a reference was to be able to create so that sensory scientists at Texas A&M, Kansas State, UC Davis could all be calibrated on that flavor of blackberry, as far as an intensity score was given and how to prepare this product, this reference, if you will. Also through the lexicon, there is tasting attributes as well as aroma. So those were the two. The way the intensity scale works is it goes from 0 to 15, 0 being not found at all in coffee, and 15 being extremely intense. So when we're talking about intensity, we don't necessarily mean intensity of a blackberry, but the intensity of blackberry flavor that was present in coffee. Does that make sense? So we thought it would be fun to try some of these. So we have a few references that Ben and I have been playing around with, working on, that we thought would be fun. So what we're going to do is it's going to be blind. We just want you to see if you can guess what aroma you're smelling and what intensity score you would give this. And then, yeah, it's down here. And same with flavor. And so then after this, we are going to do a big reveal of what these are. So you can see, so you're just going to pick one up, open it, give it a smell, guess what you think it is, guess the intensity, write it down. And there's 11 aromas over here. And then when you come over here, we're going to do flavors. So these are also numbered A through J. We're going to have some water. It's going to be kind of like a cupping. So for flavor, you're going to just come up and grab a cupping spoon and you're going to give it a taste. And you can clean your spoon and then put it in the drip tray and then get another one for this one. Does that make sense? Okay. Come on up, everybody. This is the fun part. We're going to keep this party going. Now that we've tasted flavors that can be found in coffee, let's actually cup some coffees. This is kind of where we like to use our flavor wheel to reference a lot of the flavors that we can find in coffee. Hopefully, now that we've done a fun exercise of tasting other things, you can pick out some other flavors in it. Cool. Before I talk a little bit more, I just wanted to pass these around. The defects. We like to save those for after the cupping so people aren't like, oh yeah, I definitely tasted Band-Aid when I tried that coffee. We're like, no, you didn't. You just thought you did. Okay, so at the beginning I talked about what are some things that we can all do to help support the WCR. And so there is something called a checkoff program where a roaster can decide how many cents per pound or kilo purchased through participating suppliers that you want to donate. You can do any amount from like half a cent, 10 cents, up to 20 cents per pound. Participating suppliers keep track of the coffee sales to roasters, adding how many pennies per pound the roaster has indicated to coffee purchased. This contribution includes a cost of doing business on the roaster's invoice and similar to doing costs, broker fees, or warehouse costs. So that's something that CounterCulture, we participate in. We're hoping by sometime at the end of the year where it would be a program that we can offer to our wholesale customers. A lot of our importers, some of them don't necessarily work with WCR, but we still take that into account and still take a certain amount of money to save from the pounds, and then we donate that to WCR, support the WCR. Once it's set up with suppliers, there's no real work for the roasters or participants. We really just want to drive home the point that this solution is really must be pre-competitive and collaborative. So Individually working is not going to have an end goal of having plenty of specialty coffee around for many, many years to come. We should all really support, if we're going to support this effort, we should all support WCR's efforts. That way that we can move quicker to having a really good, powerful end goal. And R&D has a great track record of having a great return on investment. So that's one of the reasons why agriculture R&D is consistently giving such high returns. Yeah, I just mentioned by collaborating with roasters, retailers, and importers, this is like one of the first times that we can directly help farmers reduce their risk and improve livelihoods by supporting. This is a cutting-edge research, the only global strategy that will ensure that the right beans and the right quantities are in the right roasting drums when they are needed. So here is a website if you are interested, or your roastery is interested, if they're not already a part of this, to sign up. And it doesn't necessarily have to be through them, but you could personally also, if you wanted to, find a way to sign up for this World Coffee Research Checkoff program. Thank you all so much for coming to our first ProDev. I hope that it was enjoyable and fun and that you learned a thing or two. And again, please think about the checkoff program and signing up with WCR. And if you're a current CounterCulture employee as well, we can continue to talk about that. Ben, is there something that I'm forgetting to say? You stood up. Okay. Okay, cool. All right, so cool. Well, thanks, everybody.